OFC 2026, I'm at the Optica booth with Aftkhar Aslam, the CEO and founder of yieldWerx. Aftkhar, thank you very much for coming to the Optica booth and introduce your company. What is yieldWerx?
So thank you so much for having us today. yieldWerx is an enterprise software platform that is basically used by design engineers, product engineers, quality and manufacturing to help improve yield. We are a platform that basically combines and joins data all the way from design, manufacturing, assembly and test and beyond.
Yield is of course the most important data when it comes to volume production.
Right.
You are very well known in the semiconductor industry. You work with the semiconductor companies. Yes. Why are you coming to Photonics and why now?
Great question. So first of all, yes, yield is always important when you are ramping, but we are one platform that also helps enable engineers in new product introduction phase. So NPI phase, when you're doing multi-project wafers. So it doesn't matter where you are in your life cycle of your product. If you're early on, or if you're basically low volume manufacturing or high volume manufacturing, we are the one platform. Second question you asked is, why are we here, right? So the reason why we're here is that, photonics is a very challenging area. You're basically marrying traditional silicon data with optical data, a laser data, photonics data. We believe we're a platform that allows customers to combine that data seamlessly. So what we are seeing in the industry is that a lot of companies are investing lots of dollars, reinventing the wheel, which we've already solved. A primary example of that would be we engage with IR Labs. It's pretty well known in the industry. We solved the yield analysis problems within 30 days. We want to take that same solution and roll it out to other companies, no matter where they are in their startup, if they're a startup, or if they're in mid-phase, nearing production, or if they're in high volume as well.
It's funny that you mentioned IR Labs, because here is the thing. We are seeing many NVIDIA-backed companies having to ramp up and ramp up very fast.
Yes.
We also saw the announcement a couple of weeks ago about NVIDIA putting $2 billion on Lumentum, $2 billion in Coherent. Yes. These companies are also ramping up the indium phosphide wafer production.
Correct.
Ramping up is one thing, but when your yield is 10, 20, 30%, ramping up is not cost effective. Right. How can you help?
So we basically are able to help identify where the yield problems are. Do you have a yield problem that is related to a bad design? Is it a bad manufacturing process? Is it a bad setup on your actual tester? Are you actually testing your product correctly? So anywhere in that journey, you may have a yield problem. And sometimes it's not just a single point of failure, it's multiple points of failure. So what we are doing is we are helping companies, number one, identify those yield issues, improve them much faster. The second thing we're also doing is we're helping enable design engineers to make the right choices. So we are basically connecting the closed loop, right? If you're a design engineer, you can look at data and you can make the right design choices on which IP to use. If I make a change to my actual design, what the impact on yield is going to be. So we are tackling it from both ends, the front end as well as the back end.
But one thing here, so one of the biggest changes that the photonic industry has suffered is that now semiconductor fabs are producing photonics. We're talking about global foundries, Tower Semiconductor, TSMC. At the same time, there are medium and small size foundries, especially in Europe, like Ligentech, Lyonics, Smart Photonics, doing also photonics production. Sure. Which companies can you help the most? The large semiconductor fabs or the small fabs?
Great question. We actually help both, right? What we are saying is that the traditional silicon foundries have standards. They have been there for many, many years. Everybody knows what data they're going to get. Everybody knows how to analyze the data and point the finger in the right direction. But even with large foundries, when it comes to actual photonics data, it's the wild, wild west. There are no standards per se. Every customer they engage with wants their own standards per se. They provide, they generate their own data. So it doesn't. So the answer is yes. With large companies, with large foundries, we have seen the same problems as with small foundries and providers as well. Challenges are pretty much the same. The only thing that's different is smaller foundries are more open to react and to change, whereas traditional foundries, it's a difficult process.
The companies increasing wafer production very fast. They are interacting with you. They are talking to you. Do you sometimes wonder why didn't they come earlier? Because now the process are set up, their machines are bought, maybe not always they made the right decision. Sure. Do you always wonder about this, or it's never too late to come to you?
I don't think it's ever too late, but what we are seeing is a pattern that a lot of these companies are heavily focused on design, getting that early tape out, but they don't see the whole picture. They don't see okay, hey, if I basically am able to produce a tape out that actually yields, that actually functions, what's next? And what we are telling these companies is, hey, you may be 6 months to a year before you have a successful product, but you have to get all of these steps in place. Collecting data, standardizing data, how are you going to analyze the data, where are you going to test, how are you going to test, right? So what we're recommending these companies is it's never too late or early to engage with us. We come with a playbook. We can help you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to learn from the same mistakes other companies have made.
Now, the final question. We are at OFC 2026 in Los Angeles. If we had this interview again, let's say in 5 years, what kind of things would you like to tell me differently? How would you like the photonics industry to have evolved? It doesn't have to be the real future, your preferred future.
Yeah. I think what's going to be interesting is how photonics basically becomes a part of a broader ecosystem. In that sense, I would say, where is chiplets? Where's the chiplet industry going to go? How does photonics play a part in the chiplet ecosystem as well? What new test equipment is going to be available to automate a lot of this testing that's now done manually? How we can improve the standards and the quality and the reliability. And now we're talking about hyperscalers, but where else is the photonics industry going to be used? I think those are going to be challenging areas, right? In bioscience, in pharmaceutical, in agriculture. I don't know. But those are going to raise their own different challenges as well.
Aftkhar, Aslam, from the company yieldWerx, if you are a manufacturer of wafers, or you are a client or a foundry, and you are very worried about identifying the known good die, why don't you worry about improving the yield? Why don't you work with yieldWerx? Thank you very much for being at OFC 2026.
Thank you.
I loved it. You're a rock star.